Um, welcome to the chaos that was today for Penn State and UCLA, allegedly. So let's back up. This morning, I had saw, and I should have set the gear in motion. I had saw the news about that there was two schools that had invested in private equity fund, or been invested in by private equity firms. And I think for some reason, and maybe Wogo kind of alerted me to this when he was doing some stuff today. I just felt like Penn State was going to be involved, and sure enough, allegedly, maybe allegedly, Penn State was involved. I think let's go back to the Pat Kraft message that we got on Friday, because it was Friday, Saturday. It was kind of a whole lot of relative nothing, and I feel like one of the things we like to do on this podcast is like get into the weeds and hopefully guide you through what things mean. And I texted Steve and said, I don't know what this means. In fact, this might have maybe been written by AI. It could have been written by AI. It was that simple. As Wogo kind of called out, there was a part in here, as I control F to find it, effectively or quickly, basically mentioning we will embrace every opportunity this new model creates, is what the quote says. And that might be the most interesting bit, because as time progressed and we got to Monday, all of this news kind of started to happen that maybe Penn State is or is not being backed by a private equity firm. So that came from a Sportico article today. You had emailed me about a little bit earlier this afternoon. And their headline was Penn State, UCLA take Elevate private equity deal, $500 million college initiative. Basically, that Penn State and UCLA are now directly tied to a private equity firm. They lay out that logic a little bit more, and then a few things happen throughout the day. The next domino to fall is that UCLA issues a statement. They're a ticket partner. Haven't taken or agreed to any private equity money. Penn State also issues a pretty similar statement from Pat Kraft, which I'm now going to read as a quote. Elevate serves as our partner in ticketing strategy and operations. To clarify, our relationship is strictly limited to these services, and we have no affiliation or involvement with private equity firm or funds. And to me, once we kind of sat back and started Pepe Silva-ing all of this together in my Charlie Day style, I think Pat Kraft is telling me the truth. I don't think Penn State has taken a private equity deal. I think what has happened is Elevate, the company that Penn State is now working with for some ticketing stuff, mostly as we've been told premium, but there seems to be some indicators it might be even broader than that, and really across the whole board of ticketing and of all of athletics. Got backed by a private equity firm. They got an investment in private equity, and what private equity firms want is you to make money on the investment that they are putting out. So how are they doing that? They are maybe adjusting their contract with Penn State and UCLA, allegedly, in terms of reconfiguring that so that Penn State or UCLA could potentially access this money, but it is all money that is a let's call it a shell game, or a little bit of, not a Ponzi scheme, but feels a little bit like a Ponzi scheme of but to be fair to everybody involved, this is no different than how any private equity situation would work. Whether it's a part in a car, or say a marketing agency, right? Like, they want to invest in you so that you can bring them back more money, and you're going to work with the vendor, that vendor to accomplish it. So we reached out to Penn State, and we actually got an answer back. We asked directly, did Penn State alter its agreement with Elevate? And we did get an answer back. That answer, however, was the Pat Kraft quote that we just read to you. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Are you going to be done complaining?
I'm
Go
not
ahead.
complaining.
Give me the rest of your.
I'm not complaining. I want to
give me the rest of your context, and then I want to ask a question.
I think when you put all of the pieces together, particularly the Elevate press release that they put out, I think I don't want to see somebody jump the gun at Sportico. I think semantics and the nuanceness of this do matter. I don't think Penn State has a direct tie. They have a direct tie to I don't think they have a direct tie to private equity now. I think they have a direct tie to a company that needs to make money. That company is backed by private equity, and then through that company and the private equity, it's going to offer up and offer new experiences that Penn State needs to help Elevate make money back on. Okay?
I think that seems fairish from what we know and what we've tried to figure out. Both UCLA and Penn State quickly distanced themselves from the idea that private equity was being invested in their athletic departments. Quickly and similarly. I guess I don't know why. I mean, if it's not true, I mean, let's say for our purposes, it's not true. If it were true, though, what is so bad about this? Like, this is the new model, right? Somebody's going to do this. A conference is going to do it. Somebody's going to say, we're going to take some outside money. Penn State has famously been, our athletic budget is separate from the university budget. We can sustain ourselves. We can do ourselves. That may not be as easy or true in the new world as it was 20 years ago. But this feels like what's the new thing to happen. What would be so bad for the schools for whom participate in it this way? Because these two schools quickly said, no, that's not us.
I'm quite surprised that you're asking me this question. Of all people are asking me this question.
But if these are the new rules, why wouldn't you be creative? This feels like a Pat Kraft aggressive move, right?
I don't disagree with it. And I think let me answer your question first. I think in general, and maybe this is just the liberalness of me, there is a concern of by a lot of people about private equity writ large. And I don't know that that's necessarily fair, but when they hear private equity, they hear, lack of a better term, Wall Street, and they just hear people that are trying to make money. And why I say that I'm surprised that you're asking this is because there is this like age-old question, particularly around Penn State's athletic department that is self-funding, right? Is like, should they be profitable or should they just be sustainable? And I think that's why I actually don't think this is a bad thing, a bad idea. Now, as I said on Twitter today, if that means that, we're going to have to pay $150 to get into a women's volleyball match, this is a bad deal. This is a bad thing, right? But I think ultimately that's why I think this is just private equity firm investing in Elevate. Elevate needs to make money to make a private equity firm adjust the contract with Penn State and UCLA and finds ways to make sure that they are making that money back. And I think, to your point, I don't think this is necessarily that bad of a thing. I think there are just social norms or social ideas out there that
But somebody's going to do this.
Yes.
Some athletic department somewhere is going to do this. So I guess that was, when I first saw the headline, I'm like, oh, Penn State's being an early adopter in this, right? Here's the aggressive athletic director trying new things. We're going to do everything we can do. It wasn't outside the realm of possibility. And if it's a semantics thing where, no, they were related to this company but not doing this at this level, that's fine too. I just think this is going to happen in the next couple of years somewhere. We've heard about it with conferences. We've heard about it with all kinds of stuff. And I don't know if this is the new rules of the game and how you're going to survive. I'm not in love with it, right? But I'm already paying for all, but I'm not paying for any season tickets except my wrestling, right? I've gotten rid of hockey and football because they don't need me. They have money. They can do these things, and that's great. And I think that's wonderful in the new process. We've talked about it. So this just feels like the next step for me. I don't know.